And welcome back. More interviews here from the D3Hoops.com Classic. I'm Dave McHugh, joined by Coach Chuck McBreen. Coach, welcome back to the D3 Classic. Ramapo certainly likes this one in the first 2 years, and speculation he's even thinking about next year, but he's got other choices too. We won't even get into that. Ramapo's squad that got a good win today over an Ursina's squad who seems to be still finding their way a little bit, but you certainly found, I think, some weapons and certainly went deep off your bench today.
Yeah, we did. We had to go to a couple of freshmen today, and they stepped up a little bit. And our point guard, Jermaine Emmanuel, really had a monster game. I think he had 23 or 24 points. I think he had 7 rebounds and 7 assists, and obviously took care of the ball, so he was a good floor general for us. Sanborn started slow, but then he really heated up in the second half, so those guys.
Heated up in the second half is an understatement for the record. Finished with 27 points on 7 of 17 shooting from beyond the arc. I joked during the broadcast that really he could be hitting him from Hoover Dam if he keeps stepping back further. You really don't hold him back, do you?
No, just like Hassan last year, I let Hassan shoot, and now we had gotten Sanborn at the break, so his first 2 games last year for us were out here in Vegas, and he did have a real good game against Ripon, where he had about 15 or 17 points in about 11 or 12 minutes, and he came out here in the second half. I do talk to him about shot selection, but it doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. He doesn't.
We're joking. If you gave him the red light, he probably wouldn't take it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Stuff.
Absolutely right. So at the end of the day, I guess you got to live with what Sanborn does. We're not a team that takes 29 threes, but when one player takes 17 of them, I guess you're going to have 20-something threes taken in the game. We're only trying to take about 13 to 15 threes, and try to get the ball inside and score around the bucket, but Sanborn is trying to change my philosophy up a little bit.
Team, for anyone who wants to know, is closing in on 200 attempted threes on the season already, and Sanborn's closing in. He's over 120, I believe, on the season. But this is a different squad than what everybody expected coming in. I know as a top 25 voter, I know I was expecting a different squad. You have experienced a lot of losses right off the bat, and Hassan you brought up, and that is one that everyone sees as the big loss among with others. Tell us a little bit about just a little bit of the struggles you guys have had to go through.
Well, our expectation level was to get back into the tournament, really make a run this year, and we don't have bad losses. We lost to Middlebury, who's #1 in the country, in our tip-off tournament in a close game that was a 5-point game with about 5 minutes to go, and then we lost Peterkin, our all-conference center, in the game against Scranton, in our first conference game, or our first game after Scranton. We played them on Monday, November 28th. We played Patterson on the 30th, and they were up at one point at 22 in the country, and we had to go there. So we're playing without Peterkin, had to go there. So we lost our second game of the season by about 10 up at William Patterson, and then we had a tough loss against Medgar Evers in New York, who won the CUNY Conference Championship last year, had everybody back, and went to the NCAA last year. So I don't think our 3 losses are bad losses, but at the end of the day, any loss is not really.
But of course, you mentioned Peterkin, broken foot in that one. You lose another player to a broken foot. You lost Hassan who decided to no longer play, and others. You've really had to go deep on this team, and you've had to bring some kids in probably a little faster than you wanted to.
Without a doubt. We expected to be about 12 or 13 deep on this team this year, and right now, I think we're 8 deep. Guys that might have been the 6th, 7th, or 8th man are now starting. Guys that would have been 10, 11, and 12 are now your 6th, 7th, and 8th man. So we're calling on kids, and they're getting thrown into the fire. And a couple of them looked decent in the first half. I was a little disappointed with the freshmen in the second half, but we were fortunate that we had opened up a big enough lead based on Emmanuel shooting and Sanborn shooting. We were able to overcome that.
You talk about this team maybe not being as good as maybe other people think, or maybe they think, or what you are hoping for. But at the same time, you do have some depth. It is young. Is it because maybe the NJAC, there's teams that we don't know about that really should be having the focus?
Right now, in my opinion, obviously we were picked by the coaches to win the league, but that was before everything went down, and we lost our point guard LaRusso with the broken foot, and everything else has now happened. I personally think we've played William Patterson. a week or so before I came out here to Vegas, I saw on a Saturday afternoon at 2, I saw Rutgers Newark, and that night I went to Jersey City at 7. And in my opinion, those 3 teams are the best teams in the conference. I believe Patterson's 9-1 right now, and Jersey City I think might be the same 9-1. Newark had a couple of losses early, but they weren't bad. They lost to Randolph-Macon, who's pretty good, and they lost to Medgar Evers out at Medgar Evers. So, Newark I think is 8-3, but in my opinion, they've got it going right now even better. I think after watching them in that game that I saw them beat Newman, I think that they have it going better than William Patterson and Jersey City right now.
NJAC 0-5 in the last few years in the NCAA tournament. It hasn't been as great. Obviously, you guys took a tough loss to Johnson and Wales last year. Where is the NJAC stacking up? And, everyone kind of looks at it as being the top of the Atlantic. Obviously, but the Atlantic isn't strong. But where are they? And can a team in this NJAC, those teams you mentioned, can they make another run like Richard Stockton, yourselves, and others have made in the past?
I think they can because they have some dominant D3 players. They have guys that have come in from other schools at a higher level and all. In my personal opinion, I really felt, now I've been in the league 14 years now, I think the league has gone down for one reason, because New Jersey never had D2s. And now we have a bunch of them, and we're losing a number of kids to scholarship schools. Before, just like I think if you correct me if I'm wrong, I think in talking to the coach from Stevens Point last year, they're pretty much a state with Division I and Division III, and if you don't go one, they get some of those kids that might be a scholarship that
want to play three.
Yeah, and they go 3, and that used to be the same thing in New Jersey, and we used to get those kids, and now there were a few NAIA schools that turned over to D2, and now they got scholarships. So I think that's really depleted the NJAC. And at one point, I would say that in my earlier years when Jose had Horace Jenkins and went to the Final Four 2 times in 3 years, and then a year later we went to the Final 8, I would say I would stack our conference up in the top 3 or 4 in the country. But now it's gone down a little bit because the D2 is really taking a toll on us.
You're obviously here in Vegas for the second time. You guys have done things before, obviously, but what are the plans here besides obviously the game? You got one more tomorrow.
Well, we were fortunate enough that we got out here on Monday, and we were able to take in Jersey Boys last night, myself and my staff, so that was a lot.
I wonder why you guys went and saw Jersey Boys.
No, we're not from Jersey.
No.
But it was great. We had dinner. We got a chance to talk about our program and where we need to go and what things that we need to do with the younger guys in order to get to where we want to go right now. So we got a chance to do that over dinner, and then we enjoyed the show. And then today we had our walkthrough to get ready for this game, and we were fortunate to come out on the
team going to do anything?
No.
No, just let them relax.
We're going to let them relax and do their thing. And we're going to, hopefully they do the right thing.
Yeah.
And we're going to, get ready for Wesley tomorrow night.
Very good. Coach Chuck McBreen joining us here. Appreciate it, from Ramapo as always. And we'll get more interviews with teams as we try and rack up all 20 here on the D3Hoops.com Classic from Las Vegas. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.